Well, we're back here again so that I can whittle down the number of books that are on my physical TBR. About the lucky things that I did before. The premise is that I've created a wheel where I put all the books that are here right behind me on these two shelves, which I will have it select randomly what my next read is. I do not get any redos. I have to read the one that it picks for me, and if I have to finish it within the week. Last time I read Chain Gang All-Stars by Nanakwame Ajebrenian. Really good. 5 stars, definitely recommend. It was such a good pick for my first book to read a part of the series. Now I'm scared. I got such a good pick the last time. I don't know what awaits me. Like I said in the last video, I really don't want nonfiction, and I especially don't want pachinko. That's probably the biggest book that I have here, and I just feel like it will be very bad for morale if I get that book next. I want that to be probably one of the last books that I read. I do not want to pick that, but it will be up to the wheel to decide what I read next, and I can't wait to see. So spinning, and you get to see first. What is it? I can't talk. Is it done? What is it? Black Leopard Red Wolf. Oh, wait a minute. I think I know which one it is. One of my few hardcover books. Yeah, Black Leopard Red Wolf by Marlon James. This is my next read. I guess we're just gonna stick with the kind of speculative fantasy sort of genre that we have going on here. This I don't think is lit fic. I don't think this is lit fic. I just think this is fantasy. I remember I bought this book ages ago and I just like never got around to reading it. Again, I am mildly allergic to reading summaries, so I truly have no idea what this book is about. I just know it's a fantasy book, and I think someone said that it was like Game of Thrones-esque, but it was during that era where everyone was calling any like high fantasy with like a low magic system Game of Thrones adjacent. Well, I can't wait to read this one. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I'm like not super excited about reading this book. I just really wanted to pull 1 in a million. I really wanted to pull 1 in a million. I want to read it so bad, but since I put it in this list, I can't read it. Like, that's one of my rules, that if I don't pull it on the wheel of the spinner, I can't read it, and I can only read 1 book at a time from these 2 shelves. I'm still reading a couple other books while I'm doing this challenge for myself, but that's like specifically like an ebook on my phone. Thank you, Libby. Or an audiobook. Again, thank you, Libby. I definitely am using and abusing my library, and so I am reading several other books, and some of the books that I have on my physical TBR are not on these 2 shelves because I already started, and I started in recent history, but there are several books on here that I was halfway through, but then a year went by and I just forgot to finish them. But the Overstory was one of those fatalities that I just never finished, but I just decided to restart it, and we're just putting it right back in there. But there's a couple that I've started this month. Those ones I just decided I'll finish up outside of this challenge. I will let you know how this is and my initial thoughts after the first 100 pages. As per usual, I won't read the summary now. Don't need that, but I do need this. See you later. Okay, I've been a really bad book blogger because I finished reading this book, and let me tell you what a fucking emotional journey that was, because I started off in the first 200 pages despising this book. It was the slowest book. It was kind of gross and weird in a way I didn't enjoy. I was thinking to myself,
why is this man so repetitive? Why do you keep saying the same things? This form of storytelling is kind of slow and dragged out. It literally took 200 pages before we even figured out what the main storyline was going to be. And remember, I don't read summaries, so I actually had to freaking cave at page 100 because I was like, I still don't know where this is going. What exactly are we pursuing? What sort of character arc are we going to go through, right? Like, I couldn't identify or latch on to anything that would make me want to pursue reading this book. book, I did not care for the main character to the point where I actually really didn't like him. I didn't know what the plot was going to be. Okay, well, why the heck am I going to read this book? I hated it so slow. What was really pissing me off? There would be something really interesting, one scene that really grabbed my attention, and I was just like, oh gosh, this is it. Because the writing wasn't exactly bad. Every 50 pages there was one really good scene. Then we go back to our usual redundant, nonsensical, I don't even know. It was dragging. It was dragging, and it took 200 pages to figure out what our plotline was. And
so let me tell you, so you already know if you're gonna go into this. Essentially, we have our main character Tracker, who reunites with his friend the leopard. The leopard tells him of this job that he thinks the Tracker would be interested in. They're in need of his nose because the Tracker has a really keen sense of smell, to the point of like once he smells an object of this person, he'd be able to find them no matter how far away they are. Different continents. That's how far. We're like different cities. Their mission is to find this boy. They start to uncover more and more, or at least Tracker, what exactly is happening. Why are in the pursuit of this boy? For what reason? Why is he so special? And if there is a reason for why boy maybe should not be found. Fellowship people, Lord of the Rings, work on their journey. Not one in the fellowship is working together, have their own motives. So now we have our storyline, we have our plot, because God, that wasn't showing up. Story of what the plot line I told you about the mission, the fellowship who was on a mission, who was being paid to find a boy. It's just him in the first person storytelling it. And so that's why sometimes it's like, well, yeah, that's repetitive, because it's, or some things are highlighted that I'm like, well, bro, why are you so focused on that? Or like there's missing pieces. It's obvious, because it's like, well, the Tracker isn't the most reliable narrator because he doesn't even know himself. He doesn't know what he's feeling. So wait, I read 3 books while I was reading this one, because I remember page 200 took me 10 years. It took me 4 days to get to page 200. But there's a perspective. I read One Golden Summer, in the Moth, and The Night in the Moth. I keep fucking up that name. I keep messing it up. In the Moth and Orbital, in no particular order. I think A Night in the Moth I read first, and I will review that later in another video for my July wrap up. Orbital was a book that I had started before, but I just decided to finish it because I was like, what the hell? I'm like, might as well, while I'm reading this Armageddon of a book. The Golden Summer, I read it one day. That was a fantastic book. Easy read, as opposed to this one. As opposed to this one. I can forgive a slow book as long as I like the main characters. And it's all about likability of like, oh, they have to be a good person. No! Just have to like them, whatever arbitrary system that is. I'd like someone who's an asshole, but he has to just be funny. They have to just be funny. And I wasn't finding this man funny. I wasn't gonna make fun of him. Sometimes I did, but not consistently enough for me to get through this 200 pages. Why the hell did you stick around for this book for 200 pages if you were hating it? Because there was at least 3 components that kept me hooked. 1, everyone was very gay. That is actually enough for me to stay for most books, even if I don't particularly care for them. That is a good enough reason. Everyone was so gay in this that I was like, you know what, I'm here for it. I'm gonna read. 2nd, writing wasn't bad. Not liking what he was telling me. Yes, I didn't like that, but the way he wrote it was actually very nice. And the 3rd aspect was all the characters who are women in this book are very well written. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, okay, wait, this is actually, the women were very complex and nuanced, and there were like, some of them were like straight up jerks, and I honestly was cheering them on. I was like, right, you're kind of like a little evil, but in a way that's like nuanced and not like kill that witch, even if the Tracker says it. Even if Tracker is like, you're all witches. I was like, bro was like low-key stealthing as a misogynist, but I still liked him at the end of the day. Anyways, 200 pages, I'm pissed off. I decide, you know what, I'm going to finish this if it kills me, because I'm mad now, and I'm curious. I want to know what happens. What I do is I borrow an audiobook from Libby. I borrowed this audiobook, and when I tell you that I fell in love with this book because of that audiobook, this book, I changed my mind so fast. I was reading this book wrong. I misunderstood the book, and I am sorry. I still hold to my feelings of the first 200 pages, but I will say, here's the thing. I wasn't just listening to it, I was doing the immersive reading, because I was like, okay, let me read the physical book as I listen to it, because I was like, there's too much information. I will say, this book has some fantastic world building. My god, we meet a new character every second page, at least. This isn't even an exaggeration. And there is, at the beginning, the track of like the 50 character cast of everyone we meet who is of somewhat importance. And not everyone has a name and not everyone stays long. I loved it. I finished reading it and I cried. I'm not gonna lie, this book made me so sad, upset, and mad. I feel like this book made me just feel engaged in a way that I felt maybe a little, I was taken a little hostage here by my own emotions of how, like, what this book was evoking from me. Oh, who would like this book besides me? Because I just really liked what he was doing. I thought it was like a really good exploration of like pushing the limits of how to tell a story, right? Really blending, I don't know, the aspect of like oral storytelling versus getting it written. This book is done a kind of a disservice by me when I was first reading the physical copy because I just wasn't injecting it with a energy. Really, definitely listen to the audiobook as you read it. Just really enjoyed how complicated each character was, how they grapple with motivations, their own morals, and then also as like time goes by, how you see them lose those morals or lose those judgment because of how in the pursuit of their goal, in the pursuit of revenge, in pursuit of triumphing over someone that you've been battling for a very long time, in the face of such terrible loss of how are you going to react anymore? Everything ripped away from you. It's like, how do you even move forward? The book is a tragedy. It's not a happy ending. And now I'm gonna read the sequel. And apparently there's a third book been published yet, and I am so ready for that to publish date. And look at the art. This is also why I bought this. I remember now. Because look at this. I was like, oh, fantasy. And this art looks beautiful. I'm glad I didn't read this when it first came out because I don't think I would have been prepared for what was to sit with me. I think, honestly, some things just happen for reasons. Like, it wasn't my time to read this book. My excuses. Just my excuses right now. Characters are so nuanced of how they can show great love but great hate. They can show such empathy and compassion to someone and help them, but then also, like, be the ruiner of lives. Thank you for watching my video. Tell me if anyone has read this book. To wrap it up, I super enjoyed this book. I would highly recommend it if anyone really enjoys the same series of None of the Nine. They enjoy dark, complicated characters. If they are very interested in someone who is meticulous about their world building, he's very consistent to what I felt. There is no payoff at the end. It's not most focused on like the plot, I would say, in a way. It was more focused on these characters' journeys of what they witnessed and what they went through. This book actually emotionally it hurt me. It put me in emotional turmoil. So if anyone has read this book, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think. Even if you hated it, I felt like this book just did its job. As in, it made me feel very complicated. It made me engage. It made me feel a lot of different emotions, even if it was discussed at some times. But it was done on purpose in a way that I was like, oh, this is what art is, right? It makes you engaged. It definitely left an impact. And yeah, it's just a hard read though. But look at the triggers because this is not very light read at all. Hopefully, I get 1 in a million and not Pachinko. I can't do another long book. I love this book, but I literally can't do another long book. This was stealthing. This was stealthing as a short book. I thought this was shorter. No, it's 620 pages, and the font wasn't that big. So, and for a short book,